Battery is going dead. Awesome. Okay. Ready? The June 9th Westfield Washington School Board of Trustees meeting is now in session. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We're glad to see so many of you here in the summer. Since we have quorum, we'll stand for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, the first item on the agenda is a public comment section. We do have public comments this evening, so I will remind everyone of the rules and procedures related to speaking at a Board of School Trustees meeting. So anyone wishing to make a comment must fill out a card 5 minutes prior to the start of the meeting, so we have 3. Public comments are limited to agenda items only. We ask that each commenter limit their comments to 2 minutes to speak. We will facilitate that through the screen timer. The total time allotted for commenting at a meeting is limited to 30 minutes, and priority is given to parents, students, staff, and Westfield residents. If you do wish to make a comment about something not on the agenda, you are welcome to email the board. So tonight's public comment is limited to the following: consent agenda, referendum resolution, approval of bid award for phase 1 of the Westfield High School renovation project, approval of architect and CMC for Monon Athletic Complex and Maple Glen and Monon Trail Elementary community rooms, owner representative RFP, and updated mileage chart. So with that, we'll invite the first comment card person to the podium, Mr. Chris Sluter.
My name's Chris Sluter. I'm president of the Westfield Classroom Teachers Association. I'm here on behalf of the leadership team and members of WCTA to express support for the resolution coming before the board tonight that would pave the way for a renewal of our operating referendum next November. Westfield Classroom Teachers Association is the exclusive representative of the nearly 700 certified teachers of Westfield Washington schools. As such, we are charged with negotiating the salaries of our teachers annually through collective bargaining. Through this process, and because of a long-standing positive and collaborative relationship with Westfield administration, our bargaining team has firsthand knowledge of and transparent access to the district finances. From our perspective, Westfield Washington Schools has made significant efforts to limit spending and tighten the belt, so to speak, over the last few years. But even with those cost-cutting efforts, the funding that we now receive from the state after a number of recent legislative changes now have us in a losing position. The opinion of the WCTA leadership and bargaining team is that we must pass a new referendum this coming November. Folks in the audience or out in the community may be asking, didn't we just pass a referendum renewal a few years ago? The answer is yes, we did. But the problem is that after we did that, the state changed the game. The purpose of our last renewal was to lower the referendum rate due to increased assessed home values and to be more fiscally responsible to taxpayers. But after that renewal, the legislature made 2 major changes. First, referendum growth caps were put in place that left us with a funding shortfall of over $1 million, and that shortfall compounds year after year. Then last year, Senate enrolled Act 1 further limited our funding into the future. The need for a referendum is not driven by our spending, it's driven solely by our lack of adequate funding from the state due to legislative changes. There's a reason why literally dozens of Indiana school districts will be seeking referendums this fall. So to the board, we ask you to support the resolution tonight to move forward with the operating referendum. And to the community, Westfield Classroom Teachers Association asks that you support the referendum. We are the fastest growing and among the highest achieving school districts in the state. Your support towards a successful referendum means having the resources and staffing that we need to keep up with our tremendous growth and achievement. And it also means supporting salaries that attract and retain the very best teachers available for the amazing students of Westfield. Thank you.
Thank you. The second speaker is Sean Keene.
Members of the board, Sean Keene, Chief, Westfield Police Department. I'll be brief. Since coming to Westfield to serve as chief, I have been beyond impressed with the exceptional school system that exists here and the work being done by the school staff and our school resource officers. Having previously been a chief in a city where SROs were in every school, I was a little concerned when I got here that there wasn't an SRO in every school. And I've been working with Dr. Atha, his staff, and the mayor to try to get that fixed. This year, I have, with the mayor's support, redirected assignments of 2 additional officers on a temporary basis to help provide coverage at more schools. And by the start of 2027, I hope to assign 2 additional officers temporarily to the schools. That would provide at least 1 officer in each current school. However, these measures require me to pull officers from other assignments, such as patrolling neighborhoods or trails, and they are not sustainable as a permanent solution. Nor does this take into account the additional schools still under construction or the need for additional supervision for this program. Currently, the city bears the vast majority of the program costs, including salaries, benefits, training, vehicles, equipment, and supervision. I very much believe in the importance of having an SRO in every school, not only for the security aspect, but also for the key role they play in the planning and coordinating of major school events, their responses to behavioral, emotional, mental health crisis, as well as medical emergencies, and their ability to de-escalate tense situations to support school staff during stressful moments. In my career, I have personally witnessed how that relationships between SROs and students have changed lives and even prevented tragedy. So today, I'm here to ask that as you consider the future, you make the shared funding of this program a priority as our community continues to grow. I believe that this investment directly affects what matters most, and that's the safety and success of our students. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief. And last but not least, Mr. Andrew Schaaf.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm pleased to be here to have a chance to talk to you. I know many of you, I've worked with many of you. My name is Andrew Schaaf. I am a proud teacher here and have taught here since the 2002-2003 school year. Maybe more importantly, though, I am a proud father of 2 children, one of whom has already graduated from Westfield High School, one that will graduate in a few years. He will be a sophomore. Next year. I am proud to say that as a community member, I built my home here in 2006, specifically because I wanted my children to go to Westfield, Washington schools. So I urge you, please, to consider supporting the referendum resolution today. I know that it's a risk. I know that it is difficult when we are in a situation where we are asked for money, where we need more, where, in fact, the game has changed for us. I appreciate that I'm in a situation as a member of the WCTA Executive Committee and working in negotiations. I understand the issue with regard to property tax caps. I understand some of the funding challenges that have not been from us, but have essentially been imposed upon us as a growing school district, and that's something to be proud of. Those challenges are compounded. But I would offer that as not just a teacher, not just as a member of the association, but as a community member, a referendum is an investment. It's an investment not just in the staff, but it's an investment in our schools. It's an investment in the community. The community will see that. I know that there will always be those that will speak for and against things. That's part of the way these things work. But I'm convinced there are more that will be in support. I will gladly pay extra tax. I have friends and family that will gladly do the same. I encourage you to support the referendum, and forward we go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. We'll now move to the consent agenda. So the consent agenda includes board minutes, accounts payable vouchers, payroll vouchers, personnel report, overnight and out-of-state field trips, and routine contract renewals. All items in the consent agenda have been reviewed by the board in advance of the meeting and are approved in a single motion. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Do I have a second? Thank you, Amber. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion or any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes. And at this time, I'll turn it to Dr. Chris Baldwin.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. In personnel that you just approved, we have selected our new Director of Transportation. We are very excited after a very thorough process, many rounds of interviews, many screenings, several very highly qualified candidates. We have selected Mr. Michael Reinhardt as our new Director of Transportation. So welcome, Michael, to the Westfield family. So feel free to address the board if you'd like at this time.
Thank you, everybody, for the invitation here. As you said, it was a pretty rigorous process, which I think was helpful to learn a lot of things about Westfield and what I'm coming to, and I'm excited about the opportunity. I think there's a great future for transportation that needs to be realized, and I'm excited to take part of that and to guide that ship as we go forward. And I look forward to supporting our students and staff as the environment for learning is so important, and I appreciate the opportunity and the trust that I'm receiving from everybody in this room regarding this unique opportunity for me.
Michael is currently the Associate Director of Transportation of Washington Township, and he will start with us on July 1st. So again, welcome, Michael. Congratulations.
I'm going to jump in. Also in the consent agenda, we had a person that the board approved and hired who will be the executive assistant to the superintendent, and she will begin July 1. So I think that means this could be Stacy Pratt's last official regular meeting. So I just want to publicly thank her for all she has done for Westfield Washington Schools and the Board of Trustees, and then finally personally for me in my first year as superintendent. She was my right hand, and actually sometimes both hands, and sometimes maybe even the superintendent a little bit. But we're not losing her. She just wants to be back in our schools, and so she will be with Andy Hilton at Cool Creek Elementary School as a school secretary. I think that's where she started at the middle school, and that a role similar to that, correct? Oh, instructional assistant first, okay, and then moved into the, so thank you, Stacy, we wish you well, and obviously we're happy that you're just a couple minutes away if we need anything, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, next we'll move to business and operations. Our first item is the construction update. So each month we look forward to hearing updates from our construction partners on progress across the district. And this evening we are pleased to welcome Mr. Jerry Rolfson from Performance Services to present first.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. Happy to give you an update on things that are moving along out at the intermediate school, soon to be Cool Creek Elementary, and the existing middle school. So I'll jump right in on this and give you that update. Just a refresher here on where are we working at Cool Creek. So we're concentrated on the area there that is kind of circled in black. That's where the most aggressive construction activities are occurring. Those happen to be the rooms that will transition to the K through 5 classrooms this coming fall. Then just a room use plan for you here too as a refresher. Those there in the heavy black again are those how those rooms will be utilized, 4 sections of each grade level starting in the fall, and then the remainder of the school there kind of more or less in the yellow shading will be the rooms that will be utilized for 6th grade. So, okay, so moving on, with that said, if you take a photograph on one day, likely the next it will look completely different. So I was over, these were taken last Friday, I believe. If you walked in the kindergarten hallway in all the classrooms, now you see unfinished drywall there. It's all been primed now and ready. We're just gearing up in the kindergarten classrooms. Those were the rooms that we started first. They've been built and infrastructure is completed, and we're ready to start kind of bringing back the room to its life, so putting ceilings in and finishes and equipment as soon as that material arrives on site. So things are progressing there. Another shot, looking down one of the other hallways where we've removed some lockers. Again, that's, I think that will eventually be 3rd grade wing. And then, of course, we introduced toilet rooms for the kindergarten classrooms. And that's a shot just of tile work in progress. So 3 shots there of what's going on. We're also doing some toilet room renovations. There were some rooms that were more recently renovated, others that were not. So we're matching those toilet rooms. And you can see there one of the shots there. And then a typical, I'll call it a classroom that doesn't have any reconfiguration, but we've stripped it clean. And that wall that you're focused on will be where the ViewSonic boards go, and so there's some infrastructure going in the wall there for that mounting. I'll push out to the site now, and this you've seen before, but it's just a reminder, we're working on the west side of the site, and that entire stretch there from between Hoover and the hospital essentially has work ongoing. A couple of drone images there. This is from the north side. If you were to go out there today, you would see that we've already now milled the parking lot, which will be the band practice lot. We've milled that, placed the curb for that as it's moving a little bit towards the west, placed that curb. And of course, the goal there is to separate the bus entry from parking lots. So there'll no longer be that mixing. That's the key piece. And the driveways you see then as it runs through the campus is pushed to far west so that you can make use of property near the buildings for other things like parking or green space. A little bit closer, looking towards Cool Creek Elementary School. That's where we're undergoing the most dramatic change there. The road gets reconfigured as it kind of works towards the south, towards the building. It pushes to the north where you see the earth kind of turned up there, almost looks like it's tilled for a farm field. That was so that we could gain compaction in that area. If you go out there today, you see it's all been rolled, compacted, and it is past our inspection. So it is ready for rebuilding of the playground. That is going to be an artificial turf play area, that portion of it that you see there, and that will extend back towards where call it the playground proper will be. And then there's been additional sections of asphalt placed. We are about a week away from being able to turn that over to the playground equipment provider so that they can begin their work. So we are on track with being able to get that playground built before the start of school this coming year. There's some roofing work going on, so I wanted to give an update on that progress there. The work currently in progress is in yellow, the green works areas that have been completed, and then where you see stipple or hatching, that is roof area that is yet to complete. That will all be completed over the course of the summer. Then, in terms of the next 30 days, what are we planning on doing? Well, we'll have a demolition complete in all classrooms. Actually, that's more or less completed currently. We'll complete the ceramic tile in all the new kindergarten rooms. It's essentially there as well. We'll rework the existing mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems. We're currently hanging VAV boxes in all the classrooms, we're redoing all of that for every room that is actually getting a renovation. That's all being redone. Variable air volume system is what VAV stands for, so it's part of the HVAC system. We'll complete all the drywall and framing. That is pretty close to being completed as well. We'll complete the acoustical ceiling grid. It's just about ready to begin, actually, in the kindergarten wing. We'll begin the carpet and resilient flooring, so floor finishes. Finishes in general will be hard at work at our next report, so as we gear up for getting complete by the end of the summer. And of course, all of the data and security updates that go with that. On the site work, we'll continue with curbs and sidewalks. Those will essentially, they're nearing completion actually around the playground, but we have quite a bit still to rework around the building. We needed to get that playground area done so that we gave time for the playground work. So we'll be moving kind of out, radiating out from that area in terms of the site work. The stone and the binder will be completely installed on the new West Road. The binder is the first course of the asphalt, so as you build that up to get to final course of asphalt, that's what you call that. We'll have the playground foundations will be starting. They should actually be in progress at our next reporting, well under progress at that time. The west bus parking, grading, and stone will be underway. The kindergarten playground final grade and stone, the stone will be done here within a week or so. And the kindergarten final grade is actually about there right now. And we'll continue with underground storm detention work as we move towards the north. Okay, I'll move on to the middle school's progress. The area in heavy bold line there is the work that's going on this summer. It is largely finishes related, although there is a little bit of classroom work there kind of in the, I'll call it the fall 2026 zone, where we're actually building a new mechanical room so we can get those units that are suspended way up and inaccessible down to the ground. So there's a couple of mechanical rooms in that area for that. Just a few shots here. Flooring's been stripped in the area of the theater and the hallway that is kind of north of that area near the auxiliary gym. Again, flooring in the special ed suite area. We're doing a lot of finished work and some toilet room renovations in that zone. A picture to the right in this shot is toilet rooms right near the auxiliary gym. And then in the what we will become sixth grade classrooms, we are, that's the area where that mechanical room is targeted. We opened up the walls areas and are about ready to start rebuilding walls in that zone. Also at the middle school, we're doing roofing progress, and same as the elementary, intermediate school, the work in progress is in gold, so you can see where we're at currently, what we've completed there in the green, and what we have left to do in the hatching. Okay, at the middle school, in the next 30 days, we'll complete the locker room renovations, begin carpet and resilient flooring updates in the areas that we're working in, painting in the classrooms that we're touching, pulling fire alarm cabling in those areas, complete all the drywall framing and block work in the new mechanical rooms, and the rework of the mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems that are relating to those areas. On the site work, we'll complete the stone and the binder at the Northwest Drive. We'll have the Bactus band practice lot that actually will be rebuilt. That will be rebuilt by then, and we'll be doing some maintenance of pavement activities. That means areas that are just being repaired, not being completely replaced. And we'll have re-poured the band tower. Band tower is getting relocated. We have the foundation opened up actually for that, so that we can pour that here shortly and get that tower relocated. And that's a quick rundown of the work that's going on, a ton of work going. If you're out there, if you happen to drive by or are on the campus for some reason, you'll see there is a lot of activity going on. So I'll open it up for any questions from anyone.
All right, thank you so much for the update.
Hey, you're welcome.
And next we invite Brian Kelly, Director of Construction for Westfield Washington Schools, to provide updates on transportation, Midland Crossing Elementary and Shamrock Springs Elementary.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board. I'll start off with the transportation facility, that we are at the final finish line on this project, thankfully. It's been a little bit of a trying exercise dealing with some of the utilities and getting a new water line installed down State Road 32 to serve this and other facilities to the west. But that has been since completed. The last thing we are working on the transportation facility itself is we are right now in day 2 of a 3-day water bacteria test that's required by Department of Health. We expect that to go well, so in 2 days, fingers crossed, we'll get a successful result from that bacteria test. At that point, we can have the city inspector in and the fire marshal to test the fire alarm system, and we will be issued a certificate of occupancy at that point. So with the water line being completed, there was work that we had held off on, some concrete areas, some asphalt areas, because we weren't sure if the water line did have a leak. We didn't want to cut up new concrete, new asphalt. So we held off on those areas. Concrete was being installed today. I think asphalt top coating was done today. So those last pieces that we intentionally held off on, pending the results of that water line or pressure tests, have been completed this week or are being completed this week. So I was out there this afternoon. Things are ready to go as much as they can be. A few pictures from inside, and you've probably seen some of these in previous presentations. Interior office spaces, 100% complete. And I just took some pictures of the main reception areas, large group meeting areas. This, we expect, will be probably the most used large group meeting area in the district. So I'm excited that we'll finally have space of that size to be able to utilize for whatever we need. Pictures of the administration hallway with typical office spaces, transportation staff conference room. Again, all the furniture is installed, everything's set up, so it's ready to go. Administration staff kitchen break area, really nice area. Dispatch, we've got a great design that separates the 3 functions of this space. The maintenance areas, the driver areas, the admin areas, and the public use spaces, so really 4. Project financials, you can kind of see in the bottom right corner of this, construction cost of a little over $36 million. We billed to date $32 million, so a lot of retainage has been held. We've utilized 43% of our $1.1 million contingency, so we've done well financially on this project as well. Midland Crossing, and I'll talk about Midland Crossing and Shamrock Springs Elementary. Midland Crossing is also very close to the finish line, and if you've been around construction at all, every day is a major change. So if you go past this facility, from one day to the next, you can see substantial change and substantial completion. Landscaping, final grading, right? There's no more piles of dirt anymore. Everything is finished graded, and you can see on the picture to the right there, the main entrance, where we've got that nice rock/river rock combination path. That'll look really nice once we do get grass in. Just yesterday, they hydroseeded a lot of the areas, not 100% of the site, but roughly 80% of the site has been hydroseeded. We are outside of the growing area, but we're doing everything we can to try and get grass to grow, and we'll kind of keep watching that. We've got a couple different ideas in place that we will utilize depending on weather to see what we can do to try and expedite grass growing or to protect to keep the kids off the dirt, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying it. Right? That's always a challenge with students. They like the dirt. They don't like sidewalks, but we're going to do everything we can to keep them on the sidewalk. So we've got a couple different ideas that we'll throw in place depending on what the weather does to us for the next 6 weeks or so. So there's a couple pictures of the main entrance. The picture of the classroom pod areas. It's an impressive looking building. It's just a great building, if you've had a chance to drive by it. The playground equipment is is installed in the kindergarten playground 100%. It's 95% in the other main playground. Once we finish that remaining 5% on the other playground, the poured-in-place surfaces will go down. So probably next week, the poured-in-place will be down for all our playground surfaces, and then playgrounds will be complete. So that was good to get that done and out of the way. Playgrounds are always difficult because of the limited crews that are available for that installation, but that's taken place on schedule. A couple of different pictures. Reception area with the wall coverings. It'll be a nice looking, very interesting looking reception area. A little bit different for Westfield, but the color scheme is in line with Westfield colors. So that's a picture of the reception area. Media Center is going to be impressive. I mean, just no other way to say it. That's the mural, and that mural is, I want to say, 80, 90 feet long, 30 feet tall. It is a massive mural in the Media Center. And it's hard to see, but on the left side of that picture is the Media Center office, a little house, for lack of a better term on it, that follows the same theme of the large mural there on that wall. So it's going to be just a really fun space for the kids to be and for teachers to be in. I've showed two different entrances to the classroom pod wings. The picture on the left, you can see two of those pods. And as you're probably aware, we have different colors schemes for each grade level, and you can see two of them there. The view on the right is kind of a view into the pod area with that large collaboration space that we've migrated to for our elementary schools. So a great design for that. Final punch list items are now complete. Final cleaning is probably 50% complete in those pod areas. In fact, Mike Hall is very excited. I know he doesn't look like it, but he really is. Oh, and he left. Because I gave him the permission to move some of our teacher boxes into that space today. So first thing in the morning, just outside those storefront windows, you'll start to see boxes being moved in. So that's a big relief for us. As you're aware, with all the moving places from different buildings and into this space, that's been a major headache for Mike. He's done a fantastic job. Give him kudos on arranging and organizing all of that. Tomorrow that starts getting filled in a little bit. Project financials on Midland Crossing, you can kind of see $72 million for construction costs. We billed a little over $68 million to date. And again, contingency is doing well. We've utilized 57% of our $1.9 million contingency. Shamrock Springs Elementary, we are still looking at an October completion date for that. And what I tried to do on Shamrock is take pictures of similar areas where I could. So you can see the picture on the left is one of the classroom pods, similar to what you saw on Midland Crossing. And the big push on the exterior of Shamrock Springs is completing masonry. So we're just working around from the north, working counterclockwise around the building to complete the masonry and exterior windows. Picture on the left is the same picture of the reception area that you saw on Midland Crossing, kind of looking down that administration hallway. Obviously, there's some scaffolding in the way of this one, but you can kind of see the difference. I've got the drywall going in process. Media Center is a picture on the right, and that far wall will be the same mural wall, different mural, but the same kind of configuration of what you saw on Midland Crossing. But we've got drywall and priming of the paint is happening at this point. View into the classroom pod areas. I didn't take one from outside the classroom pod areas because it didn't really make sense. Hard to distinguish what you were looking at. But it's, again, same configuration of Midland Crossing. That's just showing the level of completion at Shamrock Springs. Drywall, haven't started any flooring, really haven't started ceilings yet in most of the building. There's a few places that they have started some ceilings. And just typical classroom / collaboration space on that picture on the right. The project financials on this one, roughly the same budget for construction cost of $73 million. We billed $54 million to date, and we've utilized 63% of the contingency on this one. Site costs on Shamrock Springs are a little bit different. Midland obviously was straight farm field, much easier to build on. So we've had some additional site costs on Shamrock Springs and dealing with the existing utilities, existing parking spaces, some other costs just with that building next to an existing operational elementary school. Any questions on those projects?
Any questions?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the update. And the next item on the agenda, we'll turn it over to Dr. Atha to present the referendum tax levy resolution.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I feel more comfortable standing up, so I'll do that, and I can address you and the community members who are here. This evening, I just want to do a quick update. I've shared a lot of information with the school board over the past few months about the changes legislatively in our financial situation, and I've also done that at each of our schools and with our about 1,600 employees. So I'm going to share a version of that tonight before we act on a resolution. So way back at the beginning of the 25-26 school year, we had Dr. Joe Sanfilippo come in, and he said to us internally, people won't change the way they talk about schools until we change the way we talk about schools. And so that's kind of been our theme, and part of this evening is to make sure that we have the information we need to talk about schools in a manner that serves us well. So I'm going to start with a quick history. I don't know if I'm the oldest one in the room, but I've been around a long time. And so in 2008, I was in central office in another district, and our legislative, and Elena is here, who represents Noblesville as a Indiana State House representative, so welcome. But at this time, our state legislators passed what was known as the tax cap bill that implemented 1%, 2%, and 3% caps on different homesteads, rental and farmland, and businesses. And in order to make that work, they increased our sales tax from 6% to 7%. So at this time, I was in a business and operations positions, building budgets, and where I was in this change, half of the general fund budget, which was known as the education fund today, came from local property taxes in the school district. Because we were more affluent, we supplemented that. And then in other areas, the state might pick up more. And so there was a way to do that. It was a unique formula. Luke Kinley worked on it all the time. And so when this change happened, the state took over the general fund 100%. In order to give property tax relief, they increased sales tax 1%. Now, I have to tell you, my baby just graduated from Westfield High School. He was born in 2008. I had to buy a new minivan. It's my own fault. But that over $20,000 purchase cost me over $200 in sales tax with that 1% increase. And I didn't get that discount on my property tax with my 1% cap. So that little change cost my family more money. The other thing I want to note is that $200+ that was collected in sales tax went down to the state of Indiana, when my property tax would go to the local taxing units that I went to church with and saw at Kroger and were elected. So that would be the city, the schools, the library, and the township. And so I tend to think that, not all of my $200 came back to the community where I lived. So in 2010 here in Westfield, because of this, we passed our first referendum at 23 cents on $100 of assessed evaluation. That generated, I think, about $4.6 million the first year. So that's where it all started. In 2016, we renewed it, but we are good stewards of taxpayers' dollars, so we thought we don't need as much, so we lowered it 3 cents to 20 cents, still generating probably around $6 million at that time. Then in 2017, this is a little sidebar, we did a capital referendum. Everyone, I think, remembers that was $90 million. And that is, while it's a different referendum and we're still paying that off, it's fixed to pay only the debt for those projects that were outlined in that referendum. And then in 2018, the state switched from switches to the Education Operation Fund. So we sunset the general fund. We sunset the transportation operating bus replacement. We create 2 funds to make it just a little more, give us a little more flexibility. Then in 2022, I was here. By the way, I should note in 2010, I was in Westfield. We moved in July 1st of 2010, so I was here for that 2010 referendum. But I actually worked for the district in 2022 when we passed our 3rd operating referendum, and we lowered the rate again, 17 cents to 3 cents to 17 cents. And I stand before you today, and I would say to you that we need our 4th operating referendum, and it's probably our most critical. And let me share some information why. Oh, before I do that, I just want to give you the data on the operating referendum. So in 2010, 9,457 people voted, and 54% said yes to the referendum. In 2016, we passed that referendum with 81%, and in 2022, we passed that referendum with 67.8%. So in Indiana, we have buckets, or we like to say we have buckets. So these are the limit where we can spend money. So you have an education operations, an operations and an operating referendum. I've kind of talked about those. We also have debt service. Debt service is limited to our mortgage payments. So anytime we build a building or do capital improvements, sometimes GO bonds to buy technology and things, short-term GO bonds, we pay those back out of debt services. It's a restricted fund, and it can only be used for when we've borrowed money. Capital referendum I talked about, it is limited. It actually it's similar to the debt service fund. It just is a voter-approved kind of debt service. And then rainy day is our savings account, so we don't use that in day-to-day operations. So here are the 3 we live off of day-to-day. The education fund, the operation fund, and the operating referendum fund. As I already mentioned, the state controls the education fund. The operations fund and the operating referendum fund are local taxes, mostly property tax. So on that state tuition fund, the one for the education fund, you can see those are all the 290 school districts in the state. We from the ones that receive the most dollars per student to the least amount. I do want to note on the right there, there's the formula is made up of foundation, a foundation amount that everyone gets, then complexity, special education, career and technical education, honors, non-English speaking, that's a grant. And so in 24-25, the state average was $854, and we received $7,980 per student. So we would just like to be average in this. One of the things Dr. Joe says at the beginning, he says no one wakes up to be average. It's kind of like Denny's. You don't go there on purpose. You just end up there. And so here we are. So I'm going to keep going. Remember, if you will, please, just on the side there, those different categorical areas there from the foundation, complexity, and so forth. So if I go back on that, where this is the most recent data on student funding, we ranked 266 out of 290 districts. We're 24th from the last in school funding. Now, I want to shift over because when you take out and you just do complexity and the foundation amount, we actually ranked 8th from the last. And that's because many of the other ones are related to your student population. So because we have a very strong special education program and we have over 20% of our students who have an IEP, we receive more dollars for that. And so I tried to equalize it a little bit and say, okay, here's where we are if you take out some of those categorical pieces. Still, it moves us away from the average, not closer to the average. So here's our current budget. Well, the one we're wrapping up June 30th, this is an estimate. So our operations fund runs about 21 million. Our referendum operating fund was about 13 million, and our education fund was 78 million. Now, what I want you to know about this is we moved, and the folks from our negotiating team can verify this, we moved 8% from the education fund to the operations fund because of tax caps. We lost over $9 million, or weren't able to collect $9 million. And so we had to supplement the operations fund. You can go up to 15%. In the past, we had done 7%, but this year we felt like we had to go an extra percent to help out with our situation. So the legislative changes since our last, this was mentioned in the public comments, since our last referendum in 2022, where we knew that we had increases in our assessed evaluation on our properties, and so we thought as that grows, as that amount grows, we can reduce our referendum amount from 20 to 17. Well, right after we passed that, the legislators put in a random cap of a 3% growth of our AV for referendum funds in 24, and that cost us $1 million. And then we came back, there was a cap in 25, and that cost us $1.7 million. These are dollars we planned for. Now, little sidebar, I like to, I was a math teacher and then became an administrator. I got my doctorate in education. And then through this process, I had people tell me, that educators need to think more like business people, so I got an MBA. So I believe I'm going to have to get an econ degree, because as we plan out over 8 years, no one has to do that, but we do. They continue to make changes. We have to put in guardrails to help us. The other thing that happened is they put in the growth quotient and limited our assessed evaluation to 4% and got rid of the appeal process for that. So prior to 2025, for a growing district, we could do an appeal normally through transportation and get more dollars. So in 25, we weren't allowed to do that, and we projected that was another $131,000 that we weren't collected, and there's no statutorial way to do that anymore for us. So we continue to see our revenue going the wrong direction for a growing district. So I want to just add this up in a chart for you here. So I wanted to go back to 2023, and when we lowered, so the rate on the right, 20 cents, we lowered it to 17. So what we actually collected was $9,402. You can actually go back to an article where Dr. Kaiser was referencing what we needed. We had done some financial planning and studies. We were right on target. But we saved the taxpayers $1,600,000, almost $1.7 million by dropping that rate 3 cents in that year alone. Now, I think we probably wish we hadn't have dropped that rate, because when you put those caps on, it's really important. Our voters approved 17 cents at almost over 67% of our voters, but because of legislation, we could not collect more than 15 and 14 cents. So we were approved to collect 17, but legislatively we weren't allowed to collect that even though our voters approved it. So between all those changes, that's $4.4 million just since the last referendum that our revenue has gone down. So, Senate Enrolled Act 1 legislative changes. This is a summary. I don't need to go through that, but as you can see, it was a pretty big bill, a lot of things going on there. Here's the impact for us. Obviously, a tax rate generates revenue for us. Everything on the left is what we've been talking about. Our assessed evaluation here in Westville, our net assessed evaluation growing, us trying to be good stewards of taxpayers' dollars. And then Senate Enrolled Act 1 actually then makes our AV go the other way. And there is no component for us to recapture those dollars. And so we are actually in a position where a growing district and operationally, we will receive of that 113, we could potentially receive fewer dollars in the future than we have right now. So here it is. This is a chart, the first two columns that Dr. Kaiser used in 2022. So I mimicked this chart to show you the reality today. So our state funding below average, because as we grow and we're below the average, and when you get more students, that gap widens. So that's why one of the reasons we have an operating referendum. And then our circuit breaker loss continues to go up again legislatively to try to save taxpayers, property taxpayers' dollars. That hits us harder in this area. One of the reasons for that is we have homes that have been here, and I acknowledge we have folks that don't have mortgages who've lived in our community for a long time. We appreciate them and we value our partnership with them, but we also have a lot of new builds that were cornfields last year, and now they're homes, and the assessed evaluation growth was not only due to the value of their home going up, it was due to the value or the fact that they're a brand new home, right? And that home is $800,000. And guess what a new home brings? Kiddos, right? And so when you cap new home growth in a growing district, you create problems for the school district and the city that wants to provide resources as well. So here it is. This is just unfunded. This is the tax credit side. Again, trying to show you what's going on here as Senate Enrolled Act 1 comes into our communities. This is based on a study done on the parcels in our community. So as that legislation goes in, the impact of those. So that chart I just showed you right here, that 9176, is the projection there is 2026. It's close, it's a projection, but as you can see, it just continues to grow, so the gap widens. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to just talk about Westfield Washington Schools and who we are and what we mean to our community. This year, these numbers were taken right before spring break, so they're accurate as mid-March. We had 10,424 students. We had 8,407 families. So we are the school district of choice in our community. 1,628 staff members again in March. We have 16 facilities under roof. That equates into 2,630,000 square feet. That's 1.5 Lucas Oil stadiums or 7 Grand Park event centers could fit within our schools. We own 593 acres of property in this school district or in this township. And the value, this is a very conservative estimate, very conservative. We own $1.35 billion of community assets, this district does. We have over 15,000 voters, parents who are voters who have students in our schools. That's 8,000 families. And 40% of the taxpayers in Westfield, Washington Township have a child in our schools. So as we think about this resolution that we're going to put before you, I would say to you, when you look at those numbers, we are the economic engine for this community. We are what this community rallies around. A yes vote is for excellence. It will provide school safety, highly trained school resource officers in every school, more school counselors and social workers, will increase student supports, maintain small class sizes. We will also continue to retain and attract high-quality educators. Dr. Baldwin, how many new teachers have we hired this year? 62 teachers that we have had to recruit, interview, and hire. And we have some great ones. We have a system that he has put in, and we hire the best, right? And that's a key to our success. And so why they come to us is because we have this culture here that creates joy, a sense of purpose, and a sense of belonging. We also need to be competitive with our pay and benefits. I will tell you right now, our starting pay for the state requirement is $45,000. I believe ours is $46,500. 46. So we're $1,000 above the state minimum. We would like to raise that. We believe we need to raise that a minimum of 10%, probably closer to $52,000 for starting pay. We're not going to be competitive if we don't. And the issue really is every year when we sit down and we look at the numbers and we look at our revenue, we just can't make it happen. So and then that's just the teachers. When you think about all the other employees we have, we in some areas are running more than 10% behind the market. Now, I want to tell you, Art, we have the best, right? And they don't do it for pay, but I also want you to know that they're only human. And when you're asked to do something over and over again, when other folks make more, you have to stop and think about it, right? So we need to take care of them. And here's what I'll tell you about that piece, right? I already told you I'm old. I'm at the point where I don't want to rely on the legislators to take care of our teachers. I want our community to take care of our teachers. We owe them that. We're also going to have higher property values if we pass this referendum and stay, because excellence brings that. Excellent schools bring an excellent community, and then vibrant, supportive community. People, that 40% of the taxpayers who have kids in our schools are connected to our schools, so it creates a culture within our community that mirrors what's in our school and vice versa. And we want to keep that going. We want people to want to move to our community and raise their families here. I want to dig into keeping students safe. Chief King talked about it a little bit. I want to just dive in it while I have everyone here, a highly trained school resource officer in every school every day. From the National Association of School Resource Officers website, the goals of a well-funded school, this is quote right from that website. Programs include safe learning environments, providing resources, but there are really three areas, right? The triad there concept is that they are educators, informal counselors, mentors, guides. That's what an educator, and law enforcement officers. Now, I'm going to take you back to September 29th. My call left, but I got a text. Active shooter, Westfield High School. Boom, I was there in 4 minutes. But the police were there. Our police were there. They beat me. They have cruisers, I don't. And on that day, as that unfolded, I've told people it's the most safe and most terrified I've ever felt in my life. I felt safe because there were at least 100 armed officers all around. I could see them. I was terrified because I thought if this is real, it's not going to end well, right? But the key piece of this is there are also over 200 adults barricaded into rooms taking care of the kiddos. So the most important combination is you keep kids safe with caring adults, our educators, surrounding them by caring adults, and in concert with our police department. Their job is to take out the threat. Our job is to take care of kiddos. That's the number one priority. Keep the kids safe is the educators, the resource officers. So in this triad, that's always number one. But there's also all sorts of research that is out there about when they're integrated into your schools as educators and mentors, like it's exponential, the change that makes for kids as they grow. So we need this. Right now, what we're proposing, what he was talking about, is we would have, if this referendum passes, 13 officers, 2 sergeants, 1 lieutenant. Currently, we have 7 officers and 1 lieutenant. What this would mean is we would have an officer in every school every day while kids are present. If one's off, we can sub in. They wouldn't do traffic. They would have no other duties except school resource officers. Right now, they have many other duties, and they get pulled away all the time. There was an accident. Hopefully, everything works out okay. But there were police officers out here. If that had happened during one of our school day, our school resource officers would have had to help respond to that, and they would have to leave the school. In this scenario, they would not have to do that. So then our community actually becomes safer because you have road officers taking care of communities, trails, and all the different assets outside of our schools. More caring adults, again, it works in tandem. Right now, with Senate Enrolled Act 1 and what I showed you, as dollars go down and enrollment goes up, we have no choice but to have fewer adults per student, which means you have fewer caring adults. Goes in the wrong direction. That's why we have to pass the referendum. We can keep our class sizes small. We, right now, our counselor to student ratio in some of our schools is too high. We only have, I think, 1, maybe 2 social workers we need to add there. And then we can increase other student supports as well. The thing I say about that, we're not even sure what student supports we need because we haven't had the ones in place. And so when you have your ratios too high and kids struggling, it's really hard to nail down what other supports. When we get the ratios correct, then we can say what else do we need, and we can do that more efficiently. A no vote, I'm just going to tell you, is for mediocrity, and it will be imperceptible in the moment. If we continue on the path we are, we'll wake up one day and be average, and we won't even know how it happened. Because we'll have more students per adult. We'll have to institute a hiring freeze. We'll have larger class sizes. We'll have to reduce school safety. I mean, you heard the police chief say that it's not sustainable what we're doing right now. We appreciate their support. They give us so much. They give us all they can, and we appreciate it. Reduced services implemented. So we'll have we'll have to reduce bus zones. We'll probably have to create, I won't call them walk zones. I'll just say no bus zones, and parents will have to take their kids to school. We'll have to ask educators to do more with less. I'm going to switch into just quickly what's in the resolution. So our consultant, our financial consultant, has run the numbers, and they're all projections, but what we're going to ask the board to do in this resolution, if you look at here, if we have the 2% baselines, they're projecting the middle line is what they think we'll actually need to raise the dollars that we're projecting over the next 8 years. What we're going to ask the board to do is look at the lower one. We'll go more conservative. And at the highest point, that is or 0.3941 or 39.41 cents. That's what we're going to ask the board to adopt as the maximum rate based on these numbers. Then when you flip this way, this would be the levy that is generated by those tax rates projected. On the question, and I'll show the question here in a minute, for the first time in this referendum, you have to have the maximum levy. So if you see throughout that, as we move to the right, we're going to set it at $38 million. We don't think that we will ever hit that, but we also don't want to set it too low and then miscalculate. Last piece I'll say, in the question, you have to put the impact on the median homestead in your district. And ours comes out. Our auditor, the Hamilton County Auditor, has certified this amount, $425,600. So that is the median household in our community as of about 2 weeks ago. And so what this chart shows is 4 lines. One line is pre-Senate Enrolled Act 1, and you can see that at the top. And this is the total tax liability to that taxpayer. And then you see a black line, which is our target levy that we're going to try to raise. And then you see our current rate. And then the blue line is if there was no renewal, our current referendum drops off in 31, so we go ahead and show that. The reason I'm showing this is with Senate Enrolled Act 1, our taxpayers do get tax relief. But the numbers we set for the median house in our household, in our community, they still would not be above where they would be before that legislation. And so what I am asking for us as a growing district is to adopt this and stay on this course so that we do not have to reduce services in this district. Here's the question. Oh, wow, that didn't post very well, did it? Let me click through that. Oh. So the question's on the left. I want to break it down for you. The maximum annual tax rate will be set annually. So we're going to put, oh gosh darn it, I don't know where, is this it? There you go. Took me a second. This isn't my regular pointer. So there's where that 39 cents is in the question, not to exceed. The reason I put this here is annually this board adopts a budget that Dr. Hunt presents to them based on our need. So we will determine whether it needs to be 39.41 if this is voted yes, but it might not be. We won't take more than we need. Now in this first year, as I've showed you, we've blown through all our reserves. So we do believe we will have to take more, but annually, that is your job actually, not the state legislator's job. It is a school board's job to set and adopt the budget, the rate in the budget. So technically speaking, in a world where you don't need or you're against government regulation, you would be allowed to do your job. And so again, we're asking you to do that. The maximum rate allowed, but we can't take more than is 39.41. The maximum levy is a new requirement. We have to set that. And what the law says is you cannot receive more dollars than the maximum rate in this question generate, or the maximum levy, which is either's lower. And that's why we set that one a little bit higher. In the question, we have to set, I'm an old math teacher here, 450,000 as our median. I already told you the auditor certified it at 426,700, and so we will round up almost $23,000 to 450 because it's got to go in increments of 450. So that is a little misleading. And then with no consideration for what the taxpayer currently pays in a referendum, it calculates to an annual impact at the maximum of $873. It's actually $462.48 if you subtract out what a taxpayer is currently paying for the referendum. And then I would say to you in 27, our taxpayers get up to 10% tax credit, or $300. And so if you back that back out, it's actually $162, which is just over, if you divide that by 12, $13 a month. That's what we're setting it at. So the administration recommends that you adopt the resolution before you to put in place a tax levy for the November ballot. So it's adopt the resolution for the referendum tax levy. I thank you. I want everyone to know this is back. I talk about Joe. That's our educators who were there that day. They're the ones who make it happen with our kids. They're amazing, and every day I try to look at that picture to remind me of the folks who make a difference in this district. So thank you. Do you have any questions?
Thank you for going through that.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It's a lot of good information we've been going over for months now. It's a lot.
Okay. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the referendum tax levy resolution as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mike. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the referendum tax levy resolution. Is there any discussion or questions?
Well, we've been talking about it a lot. It's a long road ahead, but we'll get there, and it's very much needed.
Well, I did appreciate the financial impact to, if a person owns a home that's valued at $450,000, that it's roughly $13 a month additional, even at this highest rate. And as we've talked in finance committee and even other work sessions relative to the annual budget process, that wouldn't even be the case in years once we recoup our reserves following years, pending no other state legislative changes. People might even have a reduction and not pay any additional based on what the Board of Trustees annual budget would be set at. So I think that's important to point out.
And we will have, if the board adopts the resolution, a tax calculator on our website, and we'll provide more information on our website so that our community can just go there and type in their gross assessed and net assessed evaluation numbers, whatever they want to do, and they can play with that calculator and see how it works out.
And then the only other comment I would make, and this is not so much related to our particular referendum vote, but in this topic of referendums in general, it was mentioned in the comments, we're anticipating dozens of schools across the state doing operating referendums. And I've also talked to dozens of homeowners who have seen their assessed values increase. And so I can't help but share with folks to turn your attention to the state and what they are doing with the funds that they are collecting, because as our AV grows, the tax coming back to our community is declining. Our city isn't getting it, our school isn't getting it without asking for additional referendum dollars from our community members. And I can't help but think there is a little bit of play here from the state legislative body that they want to distract communities and really keep our eye on our own pocketbook while all these excess AV dollars are going down to the State House. Where are those dollars coming back to our community? How is the state helping to fund things? I hope we see it soon in our community. I hope we see better roads. I hope we see all kinds of things as a result of this, but the diversion of funds is concerning. And the last 3 years really gives me pause for what we could see come from the State House in the next 8 years. So I feel like there is no choice but for our school district to do this, and I think several other districts in the state are in the same boat.
Yeah, and so I'll say Zionsville adopted a resolution, the Board of Trustees adopted a resolution, and I believe in the next week, even this evening, in other districts, 5 of the 6 Hamilton County schools are expected to do the same.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is the approval of bid award for Phase 1 for the Westfield High School renovation, and I will ask Dr. Hunt to present on that.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, if you recall, we have been working with CSO on our 10-year plan, our facility study, and part of that obviously is to anticipate the growth at Westfield High School, and so as I come to you this evening, this is part of that plan. We're going to talk about the renovation, the interior renovation work that needs to be done, and that would be basically the first phase. There's going to be some multiple phases as the high school is concerned, and when I mean phases, it's really bid packages that we would be concerning that, again, eventually will be bringing to the board's attention. So, again, over the past several months, CSO Architects, Meyer Najum Construction, and Westfield High School Administration have collaborated extensively to design the Phase 1 renovations for Westfield High School and prepare the project for bidding. Through a disciplined planning and design process, the project team has worked diligently to align the scope of work with the district's budget while preserving the educational and operational goals established for the renovation. So Phase 1 of the renovation project was successfully bid this past month, and the district, in partnership with CSO and Meyer Najum, has remained committed to maintaining fiscal responsibility throughout the process and is pleased to see the project advancing as envisioned. And so this evening, the guaranteed maximum price for Phase 1, and again, when we're working with the CMC, we need to establish and approve that maximum or that gross maximum price. For Phase 1 has been established at $11,250,109, which is within the approved project budget. Construction is scheduled to begin in July of '26 with substantial completion and final punch list activities anticipated by August of 2028. But again, that takes into consideration too the other phases that will be coming into this as well. Again, additional phases of the comprehensive Westfield High School renovation project will be presented to the board in the coming months as design, development, and planning continue. Again, to make a fiscal note, it's $11,250,109 as that GMP, or that guaranteed maximum price. And so this evening, the administration recommends that the Board of School Trustees approve the guaranteed maximum price, or the GMP, and bid for the Westfield High School renovation Phase 1 project in the amount of $11,250,109, and authorize the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations to execute the final agreement subject to legal review and proceed with the project.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Hunt. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the guaranteed max price and bid for the Westfield High School renovation Phase 1 project in the amount of $11,250,109, and authorize the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations to execute the final agreement subject to legal review and proceed with the project as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Carrie. It's been moved and seconded to approve the guaranteed max price and bid for the Westfield High School renovation Phase 1 project. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of architectural and CMC for Monon Athletic Complex updates and Maple Glen and Monon Trail Elementary communities. We'll ask Dr. Hunt to present on that as well.
Thank you again, Madam President. On June 4th, 2026, Westfield Washington Schools received proposals from 6
qualified construction firms for the upcoming Westfield Washington Schools Monon Athletic Complex improvements and community room project at Monon Trail in Maple Glen. Selecting a construction manager at this time is critical to maintaining the construction timeline established in the district's 10-year facilities plan, which addresses the needs at Westfield Washington Schools. A district selection committee was formed to review the proposals with professional support provided by the district's architect firm, CSO. The committee focused on evaluation of two primary criteria: each firm's ability to successfully perform the scope of work as outlined of the project, and each firm's demonstrated ability to complete projects on schedule. All 6 firms that submitted proposals were deemed highly capable of completing the project. However, after a thorough review of pricing, experience, history of work in the district, and the personnel proposed to work directly with the district, the committee found the decision to be a challenging one. Based on the comprehensive review process, based upon the comprehensive review process, the committee recommends that Westfield Washington Schools utilize Garmong for the Westfield High School project. In addition to the approval of the CMC, the recommendation also needs to be presented to approve CSO's proposal for professional architect services for the Monon Athletic Complex improvements and community room project. At this point, the contracts have not been finalized yet, so costs are still being negotiated and finalized. And again, that's through legal review and also looking at through a microscopic vision with our insurance consultant as well. And so this evening, the administration recommends that the Board of School Trustees approve utilizing Garmong as the construction manager for the WWS Monon Athletic Complex and community rooms at Monon Trail and Maple Glen Elementary Schools. Number 2, CSO proposal for architect services for the Monon Athletic Complex improvements and community room projects. And then again, authorize the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations to execute the final agreement upon legal review to proceed with the project.
All right, thank you, Dr. Hunt. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve utilizing Garmon as the construction manager for the WWS Monon Athletic Complex and community rooms at Monon Trail and Maple Glen Elementary Schools, as well as approve CSO's professional services proposal for the architectural work. CSO's proposal for the architectural services for the Monon Athletic Complex improvement and community room project in particular. And 3, authorize the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations to execute the final agreement upon legal review and proceed with the project as presented. Thank you, Carrie. Do I have a second? Okay. Thank you, Amber. It's been moved and seconded to approve the Monon Athletic Complex update and community room projects as presented. Is there any discussion or questions?
The previous item was, item number C, was talking about the high school renovation project. This one, you mentioned the high school in here.
Should have been Monon.
Should have been Monon? Okay.
Monon and Maple Glen and Monon
Oh, I see that.
Athletics.
Yeah, this resolution is exclusive to Monon Athletic Complex and community rooms at Monon Trail and Maple Glen Elementary.
Correct.
Right, okay, that's what I was thinking, but it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
confusing. Okay, just a mistype there, no big deal. And what was this one worth again? I forget.
What is the,
The size, the size of it. The high school one, you gave the amount, which is 11.2.
yes, so this would actually be just to award the CMC. It's not
Okay.
for, yeah,
No,
so
that's
we were
okay.
just be awarding the CMC.
Okay,
Yeah, and then it was CSO's proposal for the work.
very good.
Which
So
we approved.
it's estimated right now around 16 million is
Okay.
really what the estimation is. That's not
So I think
finalized
we
numbers.
talked
So
about it.
what will happen is, once that's bid out, then I will be coming back to the board for that final approval for that CMC, which would be the guaranteed maximum price amount.
Makes sense.
There might be an opportunity at a work session, Elaine is here representing Garmong, for them. So once they get on board, they'll estimate the project as CSO draws it up, and
Right.
There'll be steps in there, and I think before we bid it, we'll probably have a work session where they present, show you the rooms, and kind of compare them to the others, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I would appreciate
But
that.
yeah, as soon as we can get CMC involved in the overall planning process, that's going to be beneficial, obviously, to the overall project.
All right, I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, worth repeating from last meeting, the funding for this project is not in addition to, but utilizing existing contingency from finished construction that's part of.
The community rooms will be, yes, that will be the case with the community rooms, and we'll have to still shake out as far as what contingency would be left, but those are definitely going to be paid for through our contingency dollars, yes.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is a request for statement of qualifications, and I will ask Dr. Hunt to present on that as well.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Westfield Washington Schools is undertaking a comprehensive long-range capital improvement initiative in response to significant residential growth and increasing enrollment throughout the district. The program is intended to address current and future educational facilities, transportation, operational needs, while maintaining efficient use in district resources. The district has initiated a multi-phase facilities planning strategy that includes the construction of new educational facilities, renovation and modernization of existing schools, transportation improvements, and other capital projects necessary to support projected enrollment growth in instructional needs. The long-range effort is expected to extend over the next 10 to 15 years. And this evening, the district seeks to identify and pre-qualify highly qualified firms capable of serving as the district's owner's representative. The selected firm would assist in the district in planning, coordinating, and managing capital projects, and provide expertise in project delivery, scheduling, budgeting, stakeholder communication, and overall program oversight. Because the specific projects assigned to the owner's representative may vary over time, the district is requesting qualifications at this time. That's all we're asking for, not proposals, but just qualifications, rather than proposals for a specific project. The qualifications received will enable the administration to evaluate the firms and establish a pool of qualified professionals who may be engaged in project's progress. This does not authorize the administration to enter into agreement with a firm, but would happen that at a future date if determined this is a valuable or value in the partnership. Obviously, as a fiscal note, there's nothing. This would just be, again, getting those qualifications. So this evening, the administration requests authorization from the school board trustees to advise and receive requests for statement of qualifications from qualified firms interested in providing owners' representative services for Westfield Washington Schools facility construction improvements and capital improvements.
Thank you, Dr. Hunt. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve authorization to advertise and receive requests for statements of qualifications from qualified firms interested in providing owner representative services for Westfield Washington School facility construction, improvements, and capital improvements as presented. Thank you, Carrie. Do I have a second from Amber? Yep. Thank you. I heard you in tandem. I appreciate that. It's been moved and seconded to approve the request for statement of qualifications. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Final item on business and operations is our updated mileage chart, and we will again ask Dr. Hunt to present on that.
Thank you, Madam President, and this is less of a mouthful, so this will be a very short one. But the mileage between Westfield Washington buildings has been updated to reflect the addresses for Cool Creek Elementary School, Midland Crossing Elementary School, and the new facility's location. The chart is used to determine mileage for the mileage claim form from district employees whose job require travel between Westfield Washington buildings. The chart is based on mileage using Apple Maps. And so this evening, the administration recommends that the Board of School Trustees approve the revised WWS mileage between buildings as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Hunt. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the updated mileage between buildings chart as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Amber. It's been moved and seconded to approve the updated mileage between buildings chart as presented. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the business and operations and transitions us to curriculum. We'll ask Dr. Hoover to share an update with the board.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Just wanted to give you guys a quick update. Obviously, with summer coming, we slowed down just a little bit, but we're already starting to plan for next year. I just wanted to let you guys know we're in a great spot with staffing. Dr. Baldwin referred to this earlier, but in addition to our teachers, we have all of our administrative positions filled, coaches, counselors. We actually hired a counselor the other day, or presented a counselor to you guys, so I feel really good about where we're at with our team going into next year, which is great because now we can start looking at our leadership summit this summer and our administrative retreat. So we're already in the process of scheduling those and have that ready to go. Secondly, new educator orientation is it's already on the books for August 10th. We'll be sending you guys information about that. It's going to be a little different this year because of the beginning of school, but we'll be doing that on August 10th at a location to be named. And as of right now, 62 teachers, but obviously that's growing. And then probably the most important thing is with our transition and rebalancing, one of the big concerns, and that Mr. Hall's done an amazing job at, is the moves of materials and then all the new materials for all teachers going to new schools. And it's more complicated than it obviously appears because teachers change grade levels and switch schools. And we don't necessarily have more materials, but we have to get them in the right spots. And as of this week, Mr. Hall shared about 85% of those moves have already taken place. So we just feel really good about where we're at. My assistant, Kat Patel, has done a great job of keeping up with all that, as well as the bookkeepers at the schools have been amazing through this transition. So we're kind of in the final stages of that, but we'll be ready to go when we come back. So just wanted to give you a quick update.
Thank you, Dr. Hoover. Now I'll ask board members and superintendents to share success stories from the past month. Who wants to go first? I will. Okay.
Graduation was amazing.
Okay.
I think everyone did a great job. Well done. Parking was amazing. I didn't hear one complaint, so it was great. And I had a son up there, so it was extra fun. And then this week, summer camps for the kiddos kicked off, and Nora is enjoying herself out there on the soccer field with all the high schoolers, so that's also fun.
Very cool.
I'll go ahead and go next. Sean, I want to thank you for everything you guys do for the police department and the fire department. We saw a bunch of the apparatuses go by earlier before the meeting. Our prayers go out to all the victims and the accident people that were there and everything else. But on a side note with the SORs, I think they're a great thing to have in a building because the little kids get a positive experience with their police department. Instead of waiting until they're 16 and running through that stop sign and getting their first ticket and everything else, I think they have an opportunity to realize that they are there to help them and assist them in any way that they need, not just from a law point, but I know some of our SORs actually help coach. Most of them are parents and coach little league teams and everything else. So I want to thank you, Sean, and the police department and the fire department and the EMS for everything they do. So thank you.
I do. Go ahead. I'll start with some of our athletic team. Softball, congratulations. They won their first regional championship ever and competed in the semi-state. Just had a great season, kept getting better every time out, and so congratulations to them. They have a great senior crew, and we appreciate how hard they worked. We also had our boys and girls tracks team compete in the state championship that had some success there, but especially Ella Jenkins won the Mental Attitude Award for the girls state track, all the teams represented, and so congratulations to Ella, a great representative of our school. I think Ella also finished third in the pole vault in the state as well, so amazing job there. Our boys golf team finished third in the sectional, but the top three move on, so I think Friday they compete in the regional, and so we wish them well.
Ashley's son on the team.
Yep, he played. He played yesterday. We did have also in the last month the Westfield Education Foundation board retreat, and looked back at the past year and looked forward to the coming year, this summer and the coming year. And it was a great event, a storytelling event. And motivated and inspired us. Matt Gaylor from the Inspired Church gave us a little bit of a talk, and so we're fired up. We're trying to rest this summer, but I think getting ready for all those things like Stuff the Bus and Rock the Block and that start of school. So just get those checked. Go to the website and get those on your calendar.
Anyone else? All right, hearing none, I will announce our next meeting, which is going to be in this room on July 14th at 6:30. Can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Thank you, Amber. Do I have a second?